I'm Ophelia Ogushakin. My problem was my love life. What happened is my father passed away, and from that time I just started going out, drinking. It was like having ridiculous drinking competitions, how much you could drink, going out with the wrong friends, meeting different guys. And then what happened is a friend invited me to the church. I first came to the church. I didn't really understand what it was about. So then I started coming slowly. I started coming, and I started seeing that what I was doing wasn't making me happy. It was making me miserable, because at one point in time I was with that person and everything seemed fine, and then before I knew it, it would just end, and it was continuous until it got to a stage where I found myself pregnant. And this guy wasn't interested. I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. So then I decided to make a difficult decision to have the child aborted. As it came to the point, then I realized what the root was because when my father passed away, I believed that love that I lost could never be replaced again. So as time was going on, what I realized is that as I've identified that root, there's something in me that has to change. So as I started coming closer and closer to God, He was showing me just little attributes that, you know, this is what you should be looking for. Little things that I thought to myself, oh no, I can't, not this person, no, I can't. But as time was going closer, you know, I came into going to a relationship. As time was getting on, and God revealed to me that, you know, this man, you know, this is the one I've put aside for you. This man is not going to be like the other ones. He's not going to use you. He's not going to treat you badly. And today, now I can say now that I've recovered from my previous relationships. I'm happily married now. I've got my son now, so I'm blessed, and I believe that's from God, because God was the one who showed me the way to know that this is the man that you should be looking for, not people outside, not anybody who's already got maybe baggage, who's already in the relationship. So I'm truly blessed now, and I'm very happy.
Hello, a very good evening. Welcome to Finding Answers. Tonight we're talking about the effects of divorce, coping with divorce. Unfortunately, nearly 50% of couples who get married end up getting divorced, and that's just here in the UK. And that statistic is quite frightening if you don't have, if you're about to get married, first of all, because you don't want to be part of that statistic. And we believe no one who gets married thinking that they will one day get divorced. I believe everyone who gets married at that particular point, the person is sure that this relationship will work. If anybody asks them, they say, I'm sure this is going to work. If they weren't sure, they wouldn't spend the average £19,000 it costs to throw a wedding. £19,000. That's a lot of money to throw away if you're not sure of what you're doing. So what goes wrong? What happens? What happens that you invest all this money? What happens that you say the vows more than once, or not more than once, you say the vows till death do us part, in sickness and in health. And some people have said those vows more than once. In fact, I will show you in just a few moments one of these people who has said these vows already 3 times, and she doesn't show any signs of stopping. Hopefully she will. Hopefully next one will be for good. But first, here's a video introducing the subject we're talking about tonight. And also, before the break, I'll tell you why I have all these books here. Because these books have something to do with you. That's right. James, is my life written in one of those books? Not really. But you are connected to what we're going to talk about here, to do with all these books, this pile of books that we have here. Let's go and watch this video. We'll be right back.
Relationships come under immense pressure from demands of children and family, work, home, and money difficulties. Furthermore, as people change and grow through life, their needs and desires can be expected to diversify. Marriages and long-term relationships do not always survive the strain. In England and Wales, 42% of marriages end in divorce, with around 240,000 people getting divorced each year. 40 to 44 is the most common age bracket for divorce, and almost half of divorces involve children under 16 years old. The reasons for divorce are varied, but the most common are adultery, unreasonable behaviour, money, and being deserted. The decision to end a relationship can be traumatic, chaotic, and filled with contradictory emotions. There are also strong feelings, attitudes, and dynamics associated with whether one is in the role of initiator or the receiver of the decision. Those who initiate the divorce typically feel fear, relief, distance, impatience, resentment, doubt, and guilt. Whereas those who have not initiated the divorce may feel shock, betrayal, loss of control, victimization, decreased self-esteem, insecurity, and anger. The effects of divorce on children can include denial, abandonment, anger and hostility, and even depression. There are numerous sources of support out there for people considering divorce, or for those who require support with their marriage. This can include counselling and therapy, marriage care centres, and support after divorce.
Welcome back. Reminding you that in a few moments I'll tell you why I have this pile of books here and what you have to do with it. Now, when we talk about divorce, we just said a few moments ago that when people get married, nobody truly wants to get divorced. No one gets married and says, I do, thinking that one day they'll call it quits. Now, something goes wrong somewhere. And divorce can be very devastating because it's like a dream falling apart. Now, I have Victoria here with me as usual. How are you, Victoria?
I'm very well, thank you.
Now, I want you to talk a little bit about the emotional effects or the mental strain that it can cause to someone who's going through a divorce, because getting married is a dream for most people, especially women. They have that dream of the white dress and so on. Now, when that falls apart, how much stress does that put in one person?
Well, it can depend on whether you're the person who has been issued with the divorce or whether you're the person who's decided that they want a divorce. Now, obviously, the person who didn't maybe know anything about getting a divorce and it comes as a shock, it's a horrendous strain. I mean, people have compared it to losing somebody to death, because you feel shock, you're in denial, you're angry, whereas actually on the other side, if you're the one that's decided you do want a divorce, you're also in pain because you've got guilt as well. So there are a huge different range of feelings, but they can be extremely stressful and people can get very, very ill.
And of course, it has to be said that before people reach the point of divorce, people usually try everything they can to make things work. Usually divorce is like a last resort. Before the person gets to the point of divorce is because things haven't been well in the marriage for a while. That's also important to say. So usually the person's already under that strain, sometimes for months or even a few years. And I want to talk about an example here. And just using this person as an example, we have come to know about the example of Katie Price, who is filing for divorce, and so she should, because her current husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, cheated on her with two of her best friends. Now, this is her third marriage, and again, I have nothing against her. We're just using her as an example on tonight's topic. And you know, when a relationship ends, you have to stop and think, what happened? What went wrong? Did I make a mistake? Did that person make a mistake? And on a recent interview, Katie Price said that to treat herself, she's going to treat herself this Christmas to a seventh, not sixth, a seventh boob job. 7th. Now, I'm sure that her marriage didn't fall apart because of any problem with that department, right?
Right.
Because, I mean, compared to other women out there, she's had 6 other surgeries, so that's not the problem. Something else is the problem. And I think it's very important when something goes wrong, and that's with anything in life. If you lose 3 jobs, 5 jobs in a row, you're going to stop and ask, what's wrong? What am I doing wrong? Why can't I keep a job? Right? You would do that. So why not do that in a marriage? Why not do that in a relationship? If something goes wrong, you stop and you ask, what's wrong? So I have a couple here with me tonight, I'll introduce to you after the break, who were actually separated already when the wife, now they are together again, the wife came to the church to fight for the marriage, to try to save the marriage. And indeed, she was able to do that, but they were already separated. So she found out what was wrong, she used her faith, and they came back together again. Now, I'm going to tell you why I have these books here with me. First of all, Victoria, going back to you again, knowledge is something very, very important, right? Knowledge is amazing. Our brain is amazing. Our brain can absorb a huge amount of information, and that information is very important. That's why studying is important, exercising your brain is important, reading is important, all these things are important. Would you agree with me?
Absolutely. Knowledge is very, very important, and it can help us get through in life, and it can help make conversations and we make friends. It's absolutely very, very important.
Yeah. So, but there's a problem. It's not a problem with knowledge. It's not a problem with how many books you read. But you know, you will not find the answer to all your problems in the books that are here on this table, in the books of the British Library. You can go through all books that are there. I mean, you can read self-help books. You can read books on marriage, how to avoid marriage, how to avoid relationship problems. But what happens many times is that people think that if they get master's degree and doctorate degrees and PhDs and they go to empowerment seminars and all this kind of stuff, that it's going to solve all their life's problems. And it's not. You shouldn't stop investing in your knowledge and in your brain, but you will not find the answer to your life's problems in these books here. They'll help you. They serve a purpose. But sometimes knowing all this stuff can actually work against you because you put all your dependence on you. You don't depend on your faith. You don't depend on God. You don't go to Him for answers. You know, sometimes we find when we in our work is that the more the person knows, the less they accept God to guide them because they think they know too much. Sometimes it's important. Sometimes, you know what you should do? Sometimes you should do this. Get rid of everything. Just get rid of it and give God a clean slate for Him to change your life. Maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe you say, James, don't talk to me like that because I am a doctor. I have a PhD, I have this, congratulations. But maybe you have a PhD, maybe you have all these things, but you don't have a happy marriage. Maybe you have all these things and you're depressed. The other day we spoke about Stephen Fry, one of the most intelligent people on TV. He's like an encyclopedia. They call him a living encyclopedia, Stephen Fry. And yet he battles with depression, with drugs. I admire his intelligence. But the truth is that sometimes you need to say, my God, I need your help. All that I know hasn't changed my life. It hasn't changed anything. Please help me. And when you do that, then He can work in your life. So I want to invite you to do something right now. I want you to invite you to do this. Perhaps the people you're going to call here in our helpline to speak to you right now, maybe they have less knowledge than you have in many things, but maybe they have the faith to be able to help you. So if you want help right now, if you want to give God this space to work in your life, the number to call is 020-7686-6300. 020-7686-6300. You can also reach us by email on help@findinganswers.tv. And you can also reach us on Facebook and Twitter. How can people do that?
So if you'd like to send us a tweet, just start your tweet with Find Answers TV, or you can find us on Facebook, just search for Finding Answers.
We're going to go into a short break. Take this moment for you to give us a call and ask for help. Talk to our volunteers, our pastors who are now ready to speak to you. And I'm sure that this can be the beginning of a transformation in your life because you will learn how to use your faith. We'll be right back.
This is your UCKG timetable. We are open 7 days a week, helping you to make a new beginning. Mondays, a meeting focused on achieving more in your financial life. Tuesdays, prayers for healing. Wednesdays, a meeting teaching you to develop in your spiritual life. Thursdays, a special prayer for the family. Friday, a service for your spiritual deliverance. Saturdays, Find the One, a service specifically tailored for your love life. Sundays, Reconnect with God, the main meeting for your spiritual strength.
Hello and welcome back to Finding Answers. Now tonight we're talking about coping with divorce. Now I've been looking at a few psychology studies and just some statistics, and I did find that divorce therapists have said that 90% of the couples that come to them with marriage problems, it's already too late for them, 90%. And also in a video that we may or may not see in a bit, a gentleman was saying that he knew for a whole month that his wife was having an affair before she left him, but he didn't do anything about it. So people seem to think that having an unhappy marriage is a normal thing, but actually there are a few things that you can do, you know, to improve it. You just need to say, look, stop, this isn't normal, we need to talk about it and try and improve it rather than just leaving it like many people do.
Now it's a very big number, 90%. Of people who come for help, it's too late. Now, even those who come for help, those 90%, the majority, it's women who seek for help. Usually the man is too proud to say, I'm making a mistake or I need help. Usually when couples come for counseling, for advice, the guy always says, I'm fine. She's the problem, right? And it's not true. Imagine, if I want to have an argument with the wall, it's not going to happen because the wall doesn't argue back, right? So it can't be just the wife that is a problem, or it can't be just the husband. Usually it's always two. Now I want to introduce you to a couple who's here with me. When she came to the church, they were already separated, and that was the worst point of the marriage. But you're going to hear their amazing story and how they restored what seemed to be an impossible relationship to work again. Let's meet them.
push me for the rest of the week. So it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Welcome back. I have Carlos and Ava sitting here next to me. How are you?
Right, fine, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
They were a little bit nervous before, but you're okay now?
Yes, I am.
Sure? Good. I'm going to start with you, Ava. How was your relationship in the beginning? When you first started to date or got married, how were things in the beginning?
Yeah, for us it was good. We were happy for a while. Then things started to go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things happened. We separated.
When you say that things were okay for a while,
Yes.
how long was that while? How long were things okay for?
Could be but a year and a half into marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So before the 2 years we were separated. And whilst we separated, there's more things happening.
But how was Carlos in the beginning when you met him? When you started to date and that first year of marriage?
Yeah, it was good. There wasn't that much drinking inside of it. So like when the drinking step in, more things start to happen and things go downhill and get worse.
Right.
And
when did you first notice that Carlos had a drinking problem?
well, I didn't really take it serious as thinking, oh, it's just a drink, and you know, and until time go by, years pass, and continue to drink more, and then he started to bring it, offering it to me as well, but just wine, and then I still didn't see it as a problem. Both we drink, that's the only thing would come and offer, look, let's have a meal and a wine, thinking nothing of it.
So in the beginning, he wasn't like very strong. He wasn't getting drunk or anything like that.
No.
So, but eventually things got worse.
Yes.
Okay. Carlos, did you realize you had a problem with drinking?
No, not on first, but until like later down into the marriage, then I realized that I had a problem. But at first, I was denying that I wasn't addicted to alcohol until it almost took my life. Just then when I took it seriously.
It almost took your life?
Yeah, it did.
How? What happened?
I could remember back in South America one morning. I was back in South America. My wife was up in the UK. Me and a friend, we was just drinking, went all over like all night until up to about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was going to drop him back. So I drank so much that night that I couldn't drive the car anymore. So I just relaxed the night for an hour or two and get some sleep. And then early in the morning, I woke up about 2 o'clock. I was taking my friend back home. And at a cross junction, I was approaching the junction, but I misjudged the next car's speed. And the other car just came and hit me. Doing about 120 miles, and he hit my car direct.
Who was doing 120 miles?
The other car that
The
hit
other
me.
car.
Yeah.
So that was a lack of judgment because of you being under the influence of alcohol.
Yeah.
So this was a serious problem. I mean, your wife initially wasn't aware how bad it was. What other things affected your marriage? I mean, he had this drinking problem. What other bad habits did he have?
Well, there was adultery.
Adultery.
Yeah.
You were married for how long?
At that time, about 3 years maybe. When things get worse with the drinking, affairs.
Are you okay to talk about that, Carlos?
Yes.
You sure? Because now it's all water under the bridge,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, what happened? How did you find out about the affairs?
Well, find out through, what should I say, friends telling, but although he never admit to thing, and whenever you do admit, you wouldn't admit to the full extent of the affairs. May say, oh, it's just a one night, or you know,
but even if it was just a one night, it was as bad as 2 nights. It doesn't
yes,
matter. 2 nights or
yes.
Yeah. So, alcohol, adultery, what else?
Yeah, there was lies and also
Okay, but what about you? Were you the perfect wife?
no.
What was the problem? I'm going to ask Carlos. What was the problem with your wife before?
With my wife before, I was finding it hard to deal with her because I was facing like a bit controlling, and I think it's because of different mentality as well, because where I come from was different to the way how we live in the UK, so it was a bit hard for me to be told what to do and take hard from a woman, and it was very hard.
So she was very she's laughing there. She was very controlling.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm not making an excuse for what Carlos used to do, right? Because you had these serious problems. I mean, we usually say that in a relationship, there are mistakes, normal mistakes, that you can deal with. Normal things, nobody's perfect. But the problems or the mistakes you were committing at that time, they were gross mistakes. They were serious, serious things, like the adultery, the lies, the addictions you had. But the fact that you were controlling didn't make things any better. It's like we were saying before, you can't argue with the wall. So you played a part in it as well, right?
Yes.
What other things do you think you had in you that had to change at that time?
Because some things that he was doing, I wasn't happy about it. So it's like you're trying to tell me, that's wrong, don't you do that. So, and because we came from different background of marriage, there was also a problem, two different backgrounds, different teaching.
Had you had failed relationships before?
Yes, one.
One what? Failed marriage?
Yes.
So you had been divorced before?
Yes.
And you, Carlos?
No, I've never been married before, but I had with a relationship before, but I wasn't married before.
So when this relationship was about to break down, did you think, there we go again, you know, history is repeating itself? Did you think that?
Yes, which in, I make a vow to myself that I would not break another marriage. I would like it to work to the end until death. So struggling with the relationship and thinking, oh, I need to make this marriage work. I don't want to go down the same road again of another divorce. So although things were so bad, you're trying, okay, let me try again. And
but of course, I mean, there's only so much you can accept, you can take, right?
yes.
You couldn't take that anymore.
No.
So when you came to the church, you had already separated, is that true?
Yes.
How long were you separated for?
About 2 or more years.
You were separated for over 2 years?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, that's a considerable amount of time.
Yes.
Had you given up on the relationship?
In my heart, you really wanted to try and for it to work and try again. But
Even though he had cheated on you,
yes.
you wanted it to work?
Yes, because I think why? Because where we came from, these adultery people accept it as, oh,
It's
nothing.
okay.
So seeing my mom go through that, thinking, okay, well, if she had done that, then I could.
Although that's not a way to live.
No, I knew it wasn't right.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't making me happy.
Yeah, and I need to say that, Ava, because it's not acceptable that the person who's with you is unfaithful, is a cheater, is a liar. It's not acceptable, it's not okay. But you, like you said, you had a mentality because of your family that, you know, no matter what happens, you stay with the person,
Yes.
right? To try to make things work. Carlos, during those 2 years, did you think the marriage was over, or were you trying to make things work? What was going through your mind?
And for that 2 years, I told myself that I had a bit of freedom. That's the way I saw it. Yeah.
So then you went really off the rail.
Yeah, I went really off the rail, and it made matter worse. It just got worse and worse and worse, because the drinking started leading to lie. I started to cheat, and I was cheating before as well, and it leading to
You don't want to say? It was a lot of things, I can see, right?
Yeah.
But what I want to do is this. I want you to tell us, after the break, how you managed, after 2 years, to save this marriage. Because, Carlos, now you don't drink anymore.
No.
You don't cheat anymore.
No.
You don't lie anymore.
No.
You changed.
Yes.
You're a changed man.
Yes, I am.
Completely.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
No going back.
No.
Good. How long have you been a different man?
About 2 years now.
2 years?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to tell us how you did that. Okay? And I want to tell people at home, we're not saying that every marriage that has been broken up by cheating and by violence and by addictions, that you should stick to trying to change this person. We're not saying this. You know, this was Ava's faith and it paid off. Perhaps you've made a decision not to be with that person and you want to move on and you want to be happy without that person. If that's your faith, great. Make that work. Let's go forward. What I'm telling you here is that there is life after divorce. There is life after a broken relationship, be it with that person or be it with somebody else. But there is life after a broken relationship. After the break, we're going to hear how Ava and Carlos, who can't even tell us the extent of how he was before. He was biting his lip not to go too far, but he's going to tell us how he changed. So stay where you are. We'll be right back.
What would you do if you had to protect a great treasure? If the answer is obvious when it comes to material wealth, it should be even more obvious when the treasure is greater: your marriage. In Bulletproof Marriage, the couple Renato and Cristiane Cardoso offer solid guidance to those who appreciate the value of their relationship and want to shield it against the risk of divorce. Besides their years of counselling thousands of couples, Renato and Cristiane present the hugely successful TV show The Love School, as well as marriage courses around the world. In over 2 decades, they have lived in 3 countries and have given hundreds of talks in more than 30 countries. Speaking from their long and sometimes troubled marriage experience, the couple offer practical tips to protect current and future relationships. To order your book online or for more information on the Love School event 2014, visit our site, theloveschoolevent.com. This event was brought to you by the UCKG Help Centre.
As a man, I understand the struggles men like me go through. They need to be strong always and not to show any weakness, even though it's there. To be a leader to our family, to our wife and kids, when we really wish someone else would show us the way. To choose what is right in a world of wrongs. To admit to our mistakes when our egos don't want us to be exposed. To learn to be a man when we're still only a boy inside. Being a man is not easy. But hard is also a part of being a man. We don't like anything easy. We want challenges. We want to prove that we can do it. That we are bigger than the problems staring us in the face. That's why we go to the moon, we climb the Everest, we sail around the world, and build fast cars. We like the feeling of accomplishment. And please don't ever tell us it can't be done. We will die trying. Being a man is not easy, but we wouldn't have it any other way. And yet, the true conquest of a man is not measured by his money, power, or fame. His greatest achievement is to overcome himself.
The Bible contains the mind of God, the state of man, the way of salvation, the doom of sinners, and the happiness of believers. Its doctrines are holy, its precepts are binding, its stories are true, and its decisions are immutable. Read it to be wise, believe it to be safe, and practice it to be holy. It contains light to direct you, food to support you, and comfort to cheer you. It is the traveler's map, the pilgrim's staff, the pilot's compass, the soldier's sword, and the Christian's charter. Here, paradise is restored, heaven opened and the gates of hell disclosed. Christ is its grand subject, our good the design, and the glory of God its end. It should fill the memory, rule the heart, and guide the feet. Read it slowly, frequently, and prayerfully. It is a mine of wealth, health to the soul, and a river of pleasure. It involves the highest responsibility, will reward the greatest labor, and will condemn all who trifle with its sacred contents. Pray it in, read it through, live it out, and pass it on.
Hello and welcome back to Finding Answers. Tonight we are talking about coping with divorce, and here's a short video with some true real-life divorce stories.
I separated from my husband in November of last year on Thanksgiving Day. I asked him to move out. It was quite a challenge before Christmas. The kids kind of knew it was going to happen, and so it wasn't a complete surprise to them, but it has been very difficult. Their grades went down. There was a lot of changes. My oldest daughter is 17. She's currently in remission from cancer, just within the last 6 months. Going through a very difficult time, you know, that 5-year span that they give you. So, and then Dad leaving, and she slipped into a really deep depression over this, and then we had to put our dog to sleep, which was really difficult. So she's really struggling right now to find her spot, so to speak.
I knew a month before I found out my wife was having an affair. I knew she was having one. Unaccounted for time out of the house. Wouldn't even do my laundry. Very short with me at times. She lost all patience with the children. Something changed. And then about a month, I knew a month ahead of time, and then I got the call, and you know what? I was numb, but I was already prepared. I was already prepared for it.
One day, my doorbell rang, and I looked out, and there was the sheriff's car. Of course, that shocked the daylights out of me. So, you know, it was the Center County Sheriff serving me with divorce papers. So that was a total shock. I wasn't expecting that at all. I felt like the whole bottom dropped out of my world. And like I said, I had no time to prepare myself or think about it or realize what was happening. And I had a 20-month-old baby. Well, it was devastating because it was a total shock to me. And of course, I had all kinds of things running through my mind at the same time, like how am I going to handle certain things? You know, all of a sudden you're faced being alone, and of course you think of the financial aspects and all that type of thing. So there was a lot of different emotions.
Now, if you're someone who is now going through divorce, or you have been divorced, or you've just gone through a broken relationship, I hope you can draw inspiration and faith from Ava's and Carlos's story and how their story turned around, because you're going to hear how they saved their marriage. But also, if you're going right now through a very tough time, if you feel alone, you feel like you've, like Victoria said earlier, like you've lost someone. It's like you're going through bereavement. So talk to us, because the same guidance we gave to Ava for her to save her marriage and how she learned to use her faith, you can learn how to do the same thing as well. Now, going back to you, Ava. You were the first one to come to church, is that right?
Yes.
I mean, when you came, you had been separated for 2 years. What did you do? I mean, were you just praying, or what led you to save your marriage?
Well, I was home, very depressed, and I received a card through the door.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at what it said, it encouraged me to want to go to that place to ease that pain.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I decided to go and see.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came to the church, speak to the pastor, explain what's going on, and he advised me what to do and
Mm-hmm.
to keep going and be strong
and pray for him.
Yes.
So you started praying for him. How long were you there in the church praying for Carlos before he started attending himself?
Well, what happened when at the time when I was at home depressed, came to the church, didn't stay long, leave, but then the depression was there months after, and I said, no, I need to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Return back, speak to the pastor again, and he explained thing, and then said, yes, okay, I'm going to fight now.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going and keep making chain of prayer and so on. And
mm-hmm.
at the time, I didn't get him to come as yet, and then there was one campaign that
mm-hmm.
they were at the time and said, okay, I need to sort this out for him, and I decided to.
How long after you being in the church did Carlos start attending with you?
A few months after, I think about 6 months after or so.
And Carlos, when you started attending the church, how long did it take for you to change? Did you really want to change when you started coming?
No, I didn't.
You didn't want to change?
No.
So you came just to please your wife?
I came because she invited me through the church. It's through the church we get back together, because we was going through the divorce. We had all the papers and we was going through just to come
Really?
and sign. Yeah, we got everything ready.
So
set.
you already had the divorce papers ready?
Yeah.
So when you started coming, you didn't even want to change, just invited you. How long did it take you for you to change, Carlos?
It took me about 2 years. About
2 years?
Yeah, about 2 years.
So it took you 2 years to change, but you've now been completely changed for 2 years as
Yes.
well. So
Yeah.
you've been in the church for 4 years?
Yes, around about 4
Okay.
years.
Now, how different is Carlos now?
Well, I could see a lot of changes. First, I couldn't speak to him. Although he was in the church, he did get baptized. He was there, you couldn't even speak about God, you couldn't speak to him.
Mm-hmm.
He was just shouting at you. Now he's much more relaxed. You could speak to him about God, which that is what I wanted. You could speak to him, he's more humble, he's more relaxed now. So there's a lot of
the drinking?
Yes.
And the lying?
Well, only he can tell, but so far, yes.
That's a very interesting answer. As far as you know, yes. Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Carlos, stop the lying.
Yes.
And you're not lying now?
No.
Okay. So, and you've got your husband back.
Yes.
And your wife, is she not as controlling now?
No, she's changed quite a lot.
This is your chance. You're on national TV or digital TV. So if you can say it, millions of people will be backing you up for. So she's changed as well.
Yes, she is.
That's great. I mean, you can see how the power of faith can change a marriage, right? From being completely broken, divorce papers on the table, ready to get divorced, now they are united. We're going to do the thermometer test after the prayer. James, what is the thermometer test? Today, actually, we're not going to end with, after the prayer, we say something. We're going to end with the thermometer test of how their marriage is. Do you want to know what the thermometer test is? In a few moments, we're going to tell you. We have a new contributor, a new pastor here tonight with us, Pastor Abraham, and reminding you, you'll see the thermometer test of Ava and Carlos's wedding at the end. At the end, it'll be the last thing you're going to see. But if you are going through marriage problems right now, if you're going through relationship problems, give us a call, 020-7686-6300, or send us an email. Feel free to explain your situation. We can book an appointment for you to come and see us, and we can guide you through the steps to change your marriage, just like Ava and Carlos did. The email address is help@findinganswers.ca. TV. We'll be right back after this break.
One-third of women in the world are victims of violence or sexual abuse. The World Health Organization considers the problem a global endemic. After all, these women are everywhere. She sits next to you on the bus. She walks past you in the aisle at the supermarket. She could be your manager, a friend, your sister. She could be the person you least expect. For this reason, let us break the silence. The Rahab Project invites you who have been a victim of physical, verbal or sexual abuse or any other form of domestic abuse to participate in a meeting aimed at your physical, psychological, emotional and spiritual freedom, promoting peace to all women who are or have been victims of abuse. For more information, call 020-7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org/Rahab.
Welcome back. I have my colleague, Pastor Abraham, here with me tonight. Good evening, Pastor Abraham.
Good evening, James. Good evening.
You're going to be a regular feature on this program on Mondays. Now, I wanted to talk to you about what Victoria said earlier, that 90% of couples seek help already too late. Now, I believe that's not just for couples. I believe majority of people, they know they need help earlier, but they feel embarrassed or they wait for the worst moment, and it shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, the person knows that she's going through a problem. But the good thing is that when it comes to faith, so the help is available. So But of course, the person has to go through the right channels, just like the couple that we just watched. They were just speaking all the experience. The wife went through hard moment. And you know, the thing is, James, that how many people, they were watching us now, they were watching the couple, and they were saying, but how could she be able to forgive all this? To let go of the past, to get healed from the past hurt. But this is what the power of faith can do. Can bring everything new.
Yeah, and they were just saying to me now during the break, Pastor, we want to come back again because we need to talk about our business. I didn't even know about their business. I said, look, our business is growing, is, you know, like never before. We won't have time today. Perhaps they'll have to come back for that. And one thing important that you said is to seek help in the right channels. Because we gave the example of the books in the beginning. And sometimes the channels you use are important for some things in your life, but they're not the right channel to solve that particular problem. It's like if you drive a BMW, if you drive a Volkswagen, and you need to service the car, ideally you should service it with that dealer or that service center for that particular car, because they're the experts on it. And sometimes the person has a specific problem and they go to the neighbor, they go to the friend, they go to the colleague, they go to everybody apart from the one who can solve the problem, that is God.
And the problem of going through the wrong people is that instead of solving the problem, create more problem.
Yeah.
Especially when, you know, when they come to the family members. So the family members, they get involved, they get emotional. So you can imagine the kind of advice that they will give.
Actually, marriages, right? Because sometimes you go to your family for marriage advice. But of course, if you go to your mom's going to take your side. And you may be wrong. You may be the one in the wrong, but your mom's going to take your side. And vice versa. So what Pastor Abraham said now is extremely important. You need to seek help in the right channels. And perhaps you've tried help everywhere. You've tried doctors, counselors. You've tried everything under the sun. Whenever there's a new book, like we said earlier, you buy it. Whenever there's a new, fad solution to your problem, you go there and you try it. But it hasn't solved anything. Why? Because you haven't gone to the master, the creator of all things. He has a solution to your problem. Don't be proud. Put your arrogance, put your pride to one side. Leave it aside and seek help. Don't let it be too late. I believe that if Ava said, I came to the church, then I disappeared, didn't come back. I only came back when things got even worse. Had she been there from the beginning, things would have been sorted out earlier. But no problem, because now she's there, they're in faith, they're succeeding, but you can taste the same success. I'd love for that to happen. I'm going to make a prayer with you now with Pastor Abraham here. And we're going to ask God for him to lead you to the solution. You have already, he presented to you in this program the solution. He led you to this solution, but to give you the strength for you to do what you need to do, which perhaps is to come to the church, to ask for help, like Ava did. Let's talk to God right now. Prepare your glass with water. We're going to bless this glass with water, that you're going to drink of it, so that God can give you the strength to change the things you need to change from now on. Let's talk to him.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer and include you in the Finding Answers prayer book, send your name and prayer request to prayer@findinganswers.tv.
My Lord and my Father, I believe that help is available from you all the time. Actually, anytime. Anytime we need help, anytime we want to find a solution, anytime we want to direct ourselves to you, your ears are open. Actually, you said, cry out to me in your day of trouble, and I will answer you. You didn't say just I'll hear you. You said I'll answer you. Ah, my God, answer this person right now who perhaps is going through a divorce. Like Ava, who had the papers there on the table ready just to be signed, and yet you managed to deliver them from that situation. And I believe you can bring happiness to this person who's already divorced. You can bring happiness to this person who's had a series of broken relationships. You can bring the happiness this person so much craves and wants, but maybe they've been going through all the wrong channels. My Lord, you've revealed to this person here tonight the right channel. So lead them to the strength, give them the strength when they drink of this water to come to you, to seek the help they need from you. My Lord, let this water be strength, direction for those who need it. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You may now drink of this water there where you are. That's it, we've reached the end of our program. You won't hear another peep from me. Let's go now to the couple. Go ahead, the thermometer, the kiss. Go ahead, Carlos and Eva. Make it a good one. All right, on that note, have a wonderful night. May God bless you.